Hello everyone, I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper 2. Last episode we made our way towards this derelict in order to try and find the core that we needed to complete the contract. It was a mess. We have taken a lot of damage, the thing's basically fallen apart, but we did manage to get the core. Only for Junie to reveal she needed the data. She got the data, but it destroyed the core in the process. She promised she'd help us get the things we need. You can now travel back to the hub. Once you leave, you'll not be able to return back. Leave. As you arrive into Hexport, Junie speaks up from the back of the cockpit. We are going to have to act fast if we want to take those feed lines. You and Seraphin exchange glances. You're both still getting used to this new Junie. We? Seraphin raises an eyebrow. Only one of us fried the core and stole all of its data. He shoots you a look. And for some reason, we let you. We can make this work. What I'm wondering, Sleeper, is why we have to. Seraphin looks infuriated. I don't think Karsten is going to take kindly to the idea that we brought someone pretending to work for him on the job and let her have this prize. He points at Junie like she is an object. Do you even know what she's up to? Junie looks between the two of you. Hexport hasn't exactly been kind to me. You two trusted me even though I didn't deserve it. I'm not used to that. I want to repay it. Not to mention that Karsten is probably ripping you off. Even if you get enough cryo, what's to say he won't raise the price? Trust me, he's no good. I was trying to deal with Karsten to get those derelict coordinates from the moment I arrived here, and he ran me in circles. She shakes her head. Seraphin is watching her closely. Even if I do take you at your word, which, given everything, seems a little tough, how do we even do this? You're telling me we just drift in there and take the feed lines? Look, I get it, you don't trust me. But what if I have a vested interest in this working out? There's nothing left for me here, and I don't much feel like hanging around waiting for Karsten to figure out my involvement in all this. I need safe passage. You need the feed lines to grant it. She allows herself a smile. See where I'm going with this? I don't like it, but it makes sense. What do you think, Sleeper? We all get something. Exactly. Let me prepare. I'll head to Factory Row, scope the place out. Meet me there, and we can work out a plan. She glances between the two of you. Trust me, we can find a way. We'll keep it simple, clean. Simple is good. Agreed, Seraphin cuts in. His dark look betrays his concerns. I'll go scope out the bay we need in Factory Row. We should split up, less likely for Karsten to suspect us. Meet me there in a few and we can finish setting up. Junie unclips from her seat, floating. I want to show you I can be trusted, that we can do this. Believe that. Please. And with that, she slips away down the passage towards the airlock and Hexport beyond. You look at Seraphin. I'm saying nothing, Sleeper. He unclips from his seat, too. Either this is the kind of mess you have to go through to get out the other side, or it's the kind that you never escape. Either way, we are in it now. He leaves the cockpit. You stare at the chaotic lights of Hexport and wonder if anything in the Starward Belt ever runs smoothly. Well, we have Junie's unit. To steal the feed lines, you'll need to get into Karsten's security systems and plan out an angle of attack. Leaving Junie to the hacking and covertly observing Karsten will be the quickest and riskiest way to scope out security, or hack security. Junie needs help to create a backdoor into Karsten's security systems so she can deactivate them when the time is right. Seems like that's what we'll be doing. We've only got 4 cycles left. We gotta get this done. Nothing we can do at Karsten Supply, so... Alright, let's at least hack the security. Lost a bit of energy. I think I'll use the last one to get a little bit of money. We can also sell the scrap. Ugh, that's bad. Okay, fine. How much do we get for the raw scrap? 16 cryo. That's actually pretty good. Okay. While we rest, you source some supplies. Fuel is not hard to get. In fact, I can fill the fuel easily enough. There. We've got all the fuel, you can get more supplies. I don't know how I'm going to repair that. There's gotta be a way. I just don't know how. Let's end the cycle. Those are good rolls. Those are very good rolls. Alright, Junie, let's hack the security. And one more hack. You have enough info to take a shot at this. Time to go through the plan. The sound of fist on keyboard wakes you from the scrolling code on the terminal screen. You turn to see Junie, a rare half-smile on her face as she floats cross-legged with her deck in her lap. The blue light of the snap-on screen makes her eyes glint with a glittering excitement. Got him! She shoots you a look. Karsten's whole system is mine. You push away from your terminal to glide over to her screen. Running the mapping protocol now. I want to know about every little dusty corner of this network. Is there much to map? She squints at the screen. Weirdly, there is. It's coming up now. Seems Karsten is pretty paranoid. This whole system is iced over with some serious security. What are all these layers of... A red pulse flashes across her face, changing her features as it does. Shit, shit, shit! Her fingers dance across the keyboard. Something is closing the port. We need... Another red flash and her screen goes blank. Junie's fist hits the keyboard again, harder. We've been kicked out. She is rapidly shaking her head. There's no way a salvage shop should have that kind of countermeasure. She looks troubled. Maybe you peeked in the wrong corner. She looks over at you. It seems so. I think our friend Karsten is involved in some nasty stuff. She rubs her forehead in thought. Wait! Her fingers fly across the keyboard, her screen flickering with commands. A complex node graph assembles on the screen, a mess of interlocking connections. The mapping protocol did enough. She points at the screen. All the security systems are there. She indicates a dark section of broken connections. We didn't get what's here, but it seems like we found some kind of archive. Nothing we want. I wonder what's there. Junie shrugs. Some big data trawls, it looks like. Copies of old drives he found? Could just be a load of data left over from salvage jobs that he thinks is worth something. He's a meathead with no eye for data, so it's probably a load of debug logs he thinks are Solheim secrets. Junie pulls a thumbnail drive out of one of her many pockets and slots it into her deck. Time to train my cat. I can identify the program. Hey. You watch the code spilling across the screen and notice the addresses from the node map being locked and identified. As you watch, you see that the cat identifies weaknesses, marks nodes with multiple connections and fragile structures. It is making a plan of attack. Junie is going to blast Karsten's network apart with raw data. Junie sees the look of recognition in your eyes. And I thought I could show you something new. She looks impressed. I call it a Katzenjammer. CAT, for short. Give it the map of a network and an entry port, and it'll flood the system with raw data and network noise. Any tech connected to it gets a killer headache. I built it to take the remnants of Solheim security systems out of commission on old derelicts. I had one too many close calls. What will it do to Karsten's shop? Pretty much fry anything on our map. Cameras, shutter controls, alarms. It'll be pure chaos. She plucks the thumbnail drive out of her deck and hands it over, the cat head sticker on it catching the light as you turn it in your fingers. Ha! We've still lost access, of course. Junie turns back to her screen, bringing up another node map. But there's an old Solheim port from the original facility just outside Karsten's. Slot the cat in there, and it should be able to find a back door. What are we waiting for? Nothing, but... This isn't going to be quiet. His whole system is going to get data blasted. It's not a subtle hack. When you slot the cat, you get in, grab the feed lines, and run. Sounds like one hell of a risk. Seraphin's voice catches you both by surprise as he slips into the dark and empty unit. Well, it's our best option. Seraphin narrows his eyes. And where will you be while we run the gauntlet of scrambled security and make the grab? Junie looks away. I can monitor how it goes down remotely. From here or the ship? Seraphin gives you a look. You can tell he's finding it hard to trust Junie after everything. I trust you, Junie. Probably a poor choice, but... She smiles a thin smile. Thanks. She starts to pack up her deck. But I'll find somewhere else to work from. Close to the ship, but out of your way. Junie shoulders her bag and glides to the door. When you are ready, slot the cat and go. By the time you are back at the ship, I'll be there. She glances down. Don't leave without me. She shoots Seraphin another look and then slips out of the unit. Seraphin watches her go, then turns to you. The whole of Hexport is going to hear about this. You better be ready to go the moment you slot that thing. I'll be ready. Seraphin nods silently. I'll be at the ship preparing the engine. We need to be ready to fit the lines as fast as we possibly can. He meets your eye. Be careful. Don't stop for anyone or anything. He puts a hand on your shoulder. Don't even think about looking back. With that, he slips out of the unit, leaving you alone to consider what comes next. Well, there's a Katzenjammer. Oh, that is cute. I like the little icon. Look at that little icon. That's adorable. Karsten Supply. Junie's cat will overwhelm Karsten security, but you don't know how long for. You better be ready to grab the feed lines and run the moment you slot it. Well, we have some supplies. I feel like I should buy at least one. Well, I can fill up the supplies. That's fine. Now, let's go ahead and run this. Well, I'm gonna do one more run in here. Get a little more money. We might need the other 5, so let's slot it and get out of here. Security hacked. Karsten's place is locked up for the cycle. Shutter down, alarms on, the denizens of Factory Row snaking past with deliveries and work orders. You hold your position opposite the shop and take a deep breath, waiting for a sign that this is going to work. You look at the thumbnail drive with its shimmering cat sticker sticking out of the old Solheim access port. You imagine the flow of data as the Katzenjammer seeks for an entry point into Karsten's system. You think of Junie, tucked away near the ship, watching you through the public networks. You think of Seraphin, deep in the engine room of the rig. Hurry the hell up, you think. Enough waiting. Then you hear it. A pulsating white noise spluttering and then screaming out of Karsten's shop. The shutter scissors up and down, the lights pulse, the alarm gurgles in confusion. For a moment, you are stunned into stillness. People stop in the street, then turn to look as the shutter's motors burn out in a cascade of sparks and acrid smoke. Now or never. We're gonna approach carefully. Oh, positive! You skirt around the people watching, using them as a perimeter. They are pointing and talking, some of them laughing while others look concerned. You slip around to the edge of the entryway, and then, as another cascade of sparks sends the observers cowering for cover, you slip inside. It takes you a moment to gather yourself in the chaos of the shop. The wall-mounted screens scream out white noise, and the flickering lights make it hard to concentrate, but you keep your focus. You scramble over to the feed lines in the window, grabbing the bundle with both arms. They wave wildly in your grasp as you wrench them away and kick off from the counter, gliding back out into the passage. Your arcing glide takes you into the crowd. You steer yourself through a gap in the gathering bodies and kick off hard towards the port. The feed lines wave wildly, but you grip them hard to your chest and don't look back. Seraphin better be ready. Your arms ache from clutching the feed lines, but you don't loosen your grip until you see the entrance to the docking bridge. Sleeper! You almost ignore the call until you realize you recognize the voice. Junie glides out to meet you, her hand on your shoulder gliding you towards the bridge. I'm with you now. She shoots you a glance. What a show, huh? You could have warned me. I did! At least, I thought I did. You both glide down the docking bridge, Junie helping you with the trailing feed lines. From what you can tell, news of the chaos in Factory Row has not reached the port yet. You feel a flush of excitement as you enter the ship's airlock. This is it. You did it. You try to keep focused, but the elation makes your hands tremble. You take a sharp turn in the central passage of the ship and make your way to the engine room, the feed lines now unwieldy in the cramped space. Seraphin is waiting for you, shaking his head. Looks like we're in business. He lets out a sigh. And on the run from 2 different people now. He grabs the feed lines. I'll take it from here. He quickly begins the process of connecting the engine to the subsidiary fuel tank. You watch, catching your breath as he works. How about you make yourself useful rather than just making me nervous? Seraphin says without looking up from his work. Go close the airlock and disconnect the bridge. You and Junie glance at each other. Both of you, now! Seraphin calls out. The 2 of you turn and make your way up the passage, your nerves settling up now. You arrive at the airlock and reach for the control panel. Then you see him. Karsten, coming up the docking bridge fast. Obviously we're going to close the airlock. Your shaking hands input the closure sequence just in time. The door hisses and slams shut in Karsten's face. He glares at you through the airlock's window, but as he does, the docking bridge's shutters scissor close, blocking him from view. You hear a clunk as the clamps disengage. You're free. Seraphin rushes past, gliding up the passageway from the engine room. Come on, get yourself strapped in. You and Junie silently follow him, your head spinning, your thoughts racing. You slip into your seat as Seraphin punches in the departure sequence. The rig begins to pull away from Hexport, Seraphin's hands on the controls. You close your eyes and feel the force of the thrusters firing. Well, we got away. What the... Seraphin's quiet question interrupts your thoughts as the rig cuts across the belt. Hexport is now behind you, drifting out of visual range, its glinting lights now just part of the background glow of the belt's thousands of reflective bodies. Whatever trouble you stirred up there has surely been left behind. Which is why Seraphin's muttering is worrying you. What's up? Seraphin turns. There's a transmission coming out of Hexport. Some kind of evac order? He turns back to his console. Let me check this. Sleeper. The voice, as distorted as it is, cuts through you. Lane. I know you are there. A hissing pause. Is that coming from Hexport? Seraphin glances at you confused. Is what coming from Hexport? Give me a second here, Sleeper. I'm getting a channel-wide broadcast. He rubs his shoulder nervously. They're warning people to alter their course away from the station. You are slipping away. A squawk of noise. But we can't have that. I take this personally, Sleeper. A sharp intake of breath. After all my investment, all my care expended upon you, this is how you repay me. At least we're heading away, Seraphin interrupts. Maybe it's just a precaution. I see a little something glinting out there. Could that be you? Sleeper? You hear Seraphin calling, but you don't move. You don't breathe. All you hear is Lane's voice. You unclip from your restraint, drifting forward towards Seraphin. He gives you a wild look. Something isn't right. You don't feel right. A numbness grows in your body, your fingers flexing without your input. You reach out towards Seraphin. No, not you. Something reaches out to Seraphin through you. A tension flickers in his eyes. Fear? A hissing silence, then a rumbling blast. All at once the rig screams, system seizing in electromagnetic paralysis. All at once the rig shifts, carried on some shockwave of light. Pain. Then darkness. The hell was that? Voices echo warmly through your mind. What the fuck? You can't quite make out what is being said, and any attempt to focus causes a growing flare of pain, so you let them fill the air, unidentifiable and soft. You are floating, and so you cannot yet feel your body or its weight. The feeling is pleasant, soothing, and yet the moment you realize this, it begins to fade. Something spasms in your fingers, and you flick it away. A sensation crosses the sole of your foot, and you kick your leg. A weight settles itself in your chest. You are awake. You open your eyes to light playing across a surface patterned with stained cushioning. You are alone. The voice is replaced by the hum of air cycling, the distant clank of maintenance systems. You are alone, and this is not your ship. You jerk upwards against the straps that hold you loosely to the berth, suddenly confronted with the last things you remember, an overwhelming numbness, and below it, an insipid animating force creeping through your mind. You pull at the straps and free yourself, floating up into the small habitation room, cushioned and worn, your mind racing. What happened? You search back and remember only Seraphine's shouts, the sudden acceleration of the rig, and then darkness. A chill runs through you. Cold light fills the room, and you float over to the dark square of the window. You see stars, the bright pinpricks of drive trails, and skeletal docking bridges. This is a station. A sudden hiss draws your attention to the door, which slides open with a puff of equalizing pressure. The entering figure jumps as they see you are awake. You're up. They hesitate in the doorway. Bliss! Who are you? They laugh nervously. Right, we didn't meet. They glance back out of the doorway as if looking for help. I'm Bliss. They shrug, not sure what to add. Your crew are out. Sorry. They brought you here. Here? Right. They nod slowly. This is my room. Not much, I know. We are in my repair bay on the far spindle, if you know where that is. In the belt? Yeah. In the belt. They look around the room again. Come on, let's go somewhere a little more comfortable. They hold out a hand. You're safe, don't worry. You follow them out into the corridor, gliding behind them. They move with the ease of someone who is either born in zero-G or has spent most of their life in it. They guide you to an enclosed balcony where heavily scratched, thick acrylic windows look out onto a chaotic-looking wet dock. At the center of the dock is the rig, scratched and worn, but still your ship. It's a reassuring sight. Is she okay? She will be when I'm done with her. Bliss sees you staring at the rig. Took some damage, but she's a hardy old thing. Your ship... You were lucky I heard your distress signal. You sense they are holding something back. I guess that expensive long-range array I was tricked into buying finally paid off. Well, at least for someone. You were out cold when I got there, and have been for all the cycles since. Your friend wasn't in great shape either, but he bounced back fast. I make a habit of doing that. Seraphine's voice makes you spin around. Oh, he got wounded. Good to see you up. He can't suppress a smile. Are you okay? He smiles. Don't start fussing over me, Sleeper. I'm good. He notices... Your eyes fall to Seraphine's bandaged abdomen. He notices and pulls his jacket over the wound. Certainly looks better than when you came in. You should have seen... Bliss abruptly stops after Seraphine glares in their direction. Here! Seraphine pulls a few chits out of his pocket. Catch! He slings them over to Bliss. That's all I could get for now. Working in your condition? Ah, please, I'm fine. Bliss looks at you apologetically. I know what it looks like, but I'm sorry, I can't work for free. Keeping this place going is bad enough. I get it. Seraphine nods. We're just thankful you towed us in. We aren't freeloaders. Bliss looks between the two of you. I'll let you two catch up. I'm glad you're awake. We were worried. They pat you on the shoulder and glide back down the corridor. With Bliss gone, silence descends on you and Seraphine. Both of you are unsure what to say. Where's Junie? She's probably on the ship working on that deck of hers. Seraphine looks out at the ship. She's been Useful. Not sure we would have got that distress signal out without her. What do you remember? He looks at you with concern. Lane. Seraphin grimaces at the mention of his name. Lane? He shakes his head. Seraphin looks out at the rig. He takes a breath, steeling himself for what he has to say. Hexport is... It's gone. What do you mean gone? It's gone. Seraphin catches your eye. Dropped off the map. No signals apart from one sent from fleeing ships. I don't know what happened. No one does. Your mind skips, unable to focus on the information you've just been told. You think of the constant activity of the bends, the rumble of Factory Row, Karsten. Gone. By the time Bliss reached us, we had drifted out of range. They couldn't have seen it go up. But I saw Sleeper. Something exploded. White hot. He rubs his arm, suppressing a shiver. A moment later, the shockwave was on us. The rig was crippled. Engine kept firing, but guidance went offline, sending us arcing out across the belt. He drops a hand inside his jacket, pressing against the bandage on his side. I managed to get her under control, but not before we started spinning. My restraints came loose and you weren't even strapped in, so we both got scrambled. Smile's a weak smile. Felt like being trapped in an auto wash. He turns back to you. I'm impressed you made it, to be honest. A flesh and blood human would have been smashed to pieces. He goes silent, the image a little too raw for him to continue. Could it be to do with us? Seraphin shrugs. Your guess is as good as mine. Would Lane do something like that? Doesn't make any sense. Utsubo is a gang. They run Darkside. They don't go around blowing up stations. All anyone is seeing is debris and radiation. I picked up a lot of ship transponders before the rig went offline. Maybe some people got out. He stops, unable to add anything more. You both float in silence for a moment. So we lost our tail? Seems like it. At least that shockwave would have burned our trail out of the belt for now. We already owe Bliss for the work they did on the rig, and it isn't finished yet. A few more cycles, I've been told. Bliss won't hold us hostage, but I don't like to skip out without paying, even if we could get the rig started up. He rubs his necklace between his fingers. Bad karma. Beyond that, we need work, fuel, supplies, and we need to make sure you are okay. He counts off the issues on his fingers. After that, I haven't heard of anyone coming after us, and if they did, they'd have to come through Hexport. Or what's left of it. The far spindle is way out of Lane's territory anyway. They call this bit of the belt the Wash, and the stations here run differently to Darkside. So for now, we have some freedom. Freedom to go broke, starve, and get into even more trouble, that is. In all honesty, I was hoping you might have some ideas. He pats you on the shoulder. Let's look for a contract. You won't hear any complaints from me. We won't be able to fly out for a few cycles yet, but it won't hurt us to have something lined up. He pauses and looks away. Seraphin pauses and stares down. Look, Sleeper... I'm not sure I can work right now. I just got kicked out of a salvage yard for passing out on the job. Even with the pain meds I've been able to scare up. I can fly, that's for sure. He stares obstinately at the rig. You're going to need some crew if you want to do any serious work. I'm sorry. Don't be. Thanks, Sleeper. He turns away. I'm going to go take a rest on the rig. I'm wiped. You look out at the rig as he leaves, the warmth and softness of your waking moments now feeling like a distant memory. Is this what you wanted? Freedom? A chance to work for yourself, not Lane? Well, here it is. With all the problems and complications you could imagine. And at what cost? Can Lane have wiped out Hexport just to try to end you? You shiver at the thought. But if not Lane, then who? Theories cloud your mind. Dwell on them. Could it have been Conway? A drone or mine drifting starward? Senate stat, perhaps, with some plan to weaken the belt. Or a belt faction attempting to flip the board by intent or mistake. The belt had considered itself safe from the war brewing in the inner system, but now? Hexport's loss will be felt all across the Starward Belt. What does that mean to you? Your needs are much more immediate, apparent. Those must come first. You take a breath. Time to make a plan. You have gained some glitch. Glitch is a penalty you gain from pairing dice and from Lane's attempts to hack your system. Your current level of glitch is represented by the glitch clock to the right of your dice. You can have a maximum of 6. Each level of glitch you gain will increase your chance of rolling a glitched dice at the start of the cycle. Each time you roll a glitched dice, you clear 1 level of glitch. A glitched dice has an 80% chance of a negative outcome when used, and a 20% chance of a positive outcome. Okay, so never use a glitched dice. 80% chance of negative? Holy fuck. That's gonna make this rough. You find Junie in the airlock, her small collection of things crammed into her bag. I was coming to see you, I promise. She looks nervous. I was waiting for you to wake up, but Seraphin said you were okay, so... That's okay. She smiles. Thank you, Sleeper. I'm glad you're feeling better. While you were... out... She pauses, the concern for you obvious. I was digging into the data I pulled from that core, the Solheim one. There's a lot of stuff in there. But it's impossible to read. Either I'm decrypting it wrong or I don't have the right cipher. Whatever it is, I think it means the data is important. Or at least it was to Solheim. I need to find someone to help me pick away at it, to crack it open. That's why I'm going. We can take you there. No, look. After what happened with the rig, Bliss saving us, we're all lucky to be alive. She shifts her bag on her shoulder. I think I'm better off alone. For now. Oh, she suddenly reaches into her bag, producing a handful of chits. Some of the data I sold just so I could buy myself a ticket to where I need to go. It's not much, but here's your share. She passes you the chits. Thank you. She smiles. You deserve more. I mean, I'm sorry. Good luck, Sleeper. And tell Seraphin goodbye for me. What are you chasing? She freezes, caught off guard by your question. I know there's value, true value in that data, Sleeper. I know it, and I have a project to continue. When I can't, I won't abandon. Maybe I can tell you about it another time. She smiles weakly, closing up again. Well, see you around. You watch her drift away from the docking tunnel and into the far spindle, with questions still bouncing around your head. Maybe if you cross paths again, you might be able to get some of them answered. Okay. Well, we've got quite a place to look through here. We've got glitched dice, which are bad. And we've got other things. Oh, and we have 4 points, so finally, Engineer is at neutral. We don't have to worry about it again. I'm content with that. And with that, I am going to end this episode here. Next episode, we're going to be looking around this place. Till then, I am Chestic44, also known as Falai. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper 2, and I shall see you all next time.